Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Did you know they carry out a risk assessment on our fruits and vegetables? Just think about it carefully. Risk assessment, fruits and vegetables. This is horrendous. This is absolutely mind-blowing. We as a people really need to severely understand what is currently happening and what they're doing to our food system. Then we need a risk assessment for our fruits and vegetables, right? I talked about the pesticides, right, on probably about 2 years ago on the channel, where we talked about fruits and vegetables being imported, and they found that quite a lot of fruits and vegetables that were imported from different countries were covered in a lot of pesticides, and in fact some of them were actually forbidden in UK to be used by our farmers, which was really, really unfair. But now, right, there's an article where they talked about the current revelations or what currently happened in the 2024, because believe this or not, they do carry out the tests of the fruits and vegetables in their supermarkets on a regular basis. They do this in the quarterly for certain ones, and then they publish their findings quietly but available publicly for people to see. So the article is talking about the outcome from the 2024 year when they're talking about the pesticides on our fruits and vegetables. So the article is cancer-linked chemicals found in the grapes and 16 other fruits and vegetables in UK tests. Okay, so basically, they found 42 cancer-linked pesticides across 17 types of fruit and vegetables, with one sample of grapes containing 16 pesticides, right? And again, I spoke about grapes before because they are notoriously bad. They're actually one of the worst of the in terms of harboring the amount of pesticides. If you ever pick up a grape from the planet and you just touch the grape, they're always covered in almost dirt. And I always wondered, like, why on earth? But you now know, right? 16 pesticides on one grape, you can pretty much feel them. So anyway, so basically UK carried out a test, or government examined 3,482 foods and drink samples. I didn't know they actually tested the drinks, like they were talking about the milk. We're talking about the juices, and of course they're testing things like oat and tinned fish. They all for pesticides, which is rather interesting. Probably more information than I would want to know, but we'll cover that in a different video. But anyway, so they revealed 123 difficult chemicals, right, were identified across 17 types of fruits and vegetables in 2024. 123 pesticides. I didn't even know so many exist, but believe this or not, there's over 450 pesticides that they actually test for. Again, we'll talk about this later. So they found 42 pesticides with a cancer connections and 21 recognized for the disrupting hormones, right? So this is basically 63 pesticides that are bad for health that discovered on our foods. This is absolutely ridiculous. As I said, the grapes were one of the worst ones. They contain forever chemicals and some other, like 4 of them, and I can't actually even pronounce that, how bad this is. Obviously, because they're forever chemicals, they're forever present, and they're really, really difficult to wash off. So apparently grapefruits as well. So they assessed 121 samples with 99 showing multiple pesticides residue and 1 kilo sample containing 10 different pesticides. Meanwhile, 79% of the 24 limes examined contained multiple pesticides, followed by 67 of the 73 bananas and 49% of 96 sweet peppers. Okay, so basically they were testing different products, 17 different ones, and so it looks, to comparing to 2 years ago when I done the video, there's certain things they seem to be changing in terms of what's actually the worst in terms of the pesticides. But this is horrendous. So they're finding this and they're doing the test. They basically pick specific groups per kilo, and they target specific, in sometimes brands or whatever it is that they choose to do, because they do test like the bagged salad as well. Just think about it, okay? It's absolutely horrendous. They're allowing this in, and they've got, so they call strict standards when they're talking about the allowed amount, the maximum allowed amount, which is that's what they test for. But see, the problem is, and the argument is, when they do those tests, it's like when we're talking about the water, the quality of water, they only test for specific, like 7. In this instance of the pesticides, right, what's allowed as a allowed amount on your fruits and vegetables, it's counted individually. So if they say, well, this pesticide is A-okay in whatever specific quantity is, and that's good for your health, or is acceptable for your health, no problems to your body if you consume that. But what they don't count, and this is where the system is really old, is the addition of multiple pesticides on the same. So if you think you consume grape, you have 1 pesticide, they say that's fine for you. But if you contain 16, and a lot of them are in the same group or in the same in the same group where it can cause the same effect on your body. So if you think it's the forever chemicals, there are like 70, if not more, of the variety of forever chemicals. So if they say one of them is okay, so grape is safe to go on the shelf because it's only got X amount and it's okay, well, they don't combine them together, okay? So they only test for one, say this is okay, one is okay, but they don't combine the amount of the pesticides even in the same group together. So what they think is actually is okay by the old rules or current rules, it might not in fact actually be okay if you combine it all together. And at the same time, of course, it doesn't combine the quantity consumption. When you consume, say, you might have a banana a day, you have a little bit of grapes a day, you might have an apple a day, and well, again, they don't count that. They can't possibly put this together to tell you this is going to be unsafe or not unsafe, if that makes sense. Because again, as I said, they only look at the one specific pesticide. And I think it's absolutely horrendous. And, right, I'm currently looking at a 100-page report for just the beginning, the first quarter of 2025. I don't really, okay, this is what 2024, I get it as a whole year. I wanted to have a look myself in a little bit more details, what they actually test for, how many pesticides, what are they? Because a lot of people will be screaming at me right now, well, buy organic because it's great, there's no pesticides. Wrong. And I will prove you that in the next video when I'm going to be going through. It's a 110 pages report for just the quarter alone. I'm not going to go through all of that, but I'm going to go through it. But I'm going to nitpick you the final results, and I'm going to nitpick you certain foods, not necessarily just fruits, but other bits as well that have been tested. And yes, organic is on there. Unfortunately so. I hate to say this, not in huge quantities by far, and generally the certain things they skate through the net, if you wish, not in the huge quantities by far. But the point is they only test very small selection of things. And on the whole array, say for example, if like we said, they test like a kilo of apples or whatever, and they do this like in 6 different batches or something. That's not a lot, considering how many apples are coming in from different countries. The report does cover as well things from EU and the UK, but I found this shocking. I found this shocking that so much of this is happening. Yes, it's publicly available, and I'll put the link when I do the other video, but it's not really something that pushed. We, as a consumer, need to be either fully aware ourselves, or they need to tell us a little bit more about the transparency. See, on the citrus, when you buy a citrus fruit, it tells you covered with 1 wax and 3 pesticides, right? And normally the pesticides are underneath the wax, right? This is just to make it more so it stays there for a bit longer for you. But none of the other stuff is actually displayed on our fruits, which I think it should be. I think, not being funny, but if they have detected small amounts of stuff, it should be put on the packaging because they know where it's coming from. They know what's happening. But nonetheless, it is absolutely horrendous. So the point is really, by the avoiding, don't think for 1 second that your organic produce or all of this is excluded from that, because it's not. And it's not, and that's proven. I will prove you the point. And the next thing is those washing things. They are ultrasonic cleansing things that do the food. I gotta say, I've been using that not probably as often as I think, but I should. But the article, it really kind of brought it home again. Like 40 something pesticides that are cancer causing. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. But the whole fact they allowing this to happen without changing the rules, changing the legislations change the, 20, 30 years ago, when they only had maybe like 2 or 3 pesticides, fine, test for 1. When there's over 450 pesticides altogether, change the system, have a stricter controls. And it's not just the UK. There will be produce, because it comes from different countries. That produce will also be going in the countries in EU as well. It's nothing to do with the Brexit. It's just how things are. The whole fact to me that they allow it to happen. They don't want to change it because they don't care. They don't care. They say, this is what it is. This is what you take it or leave it, that kind of thing. So anyway, went over, guys. Don't forget, as I said, I will do follow-up video when we're going to be going through the products of what's been tested and what found, what's good, what's not good type thing. Not by brand, just by the fruits, vegetables, and other products that are of interest. So if you want to not to miss that, don't forget, subscribe. Don't forget to put the bell notification. Otherwise, well, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.